Hi, my name's Ben and we are back with another episode in our journey to uncover what makes South Canterbury not just an incredible place to visit, but an amazing place to live, work and build a business. So let's find out what makes this place so special. From thriving local businesses to hidden community gems, I'm sitting down with the people who make this region tick. Entrepreneurs, creatives and everyday legends who call South Canterbury home. Maybe you got a bit of a clue from the sign behind me, but today we're speaking with Charlotte Bowen. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview, Charlotte. Really appreciate a company such as Heartland Chips being willing to talk about South Canterbury and what an amazing place it is to live, work or build a business. Now firstly, I'd love you to talk a bit about yourself and what your personal background is.
Well, I am born and raised in Timaru. Grew up on the family farm, Foregate Farm, which is in Arari. As a child, Mum and Dad are actually celebrating 50 years of Foregate Farm this year, which is exciting. So from a young age was exposed to being on the farm, which was great, loved it. Did schooling in Timaru here, and then after schooling I actually trained as a school teacher. So I worked as a school teacher in Wellington and then also in Australia. Came back to New Zealand when my eldest was born and did a little bit of relief teaching here in Timaru. Thought we would come back and raise the children in a great place. And it was the time that Mum and Dad started Heartland Potato Chips. So was fortunate enough to also do some work here, and that was all very part-time while the kids were young, and then just grew into the business as the business grew.
So you grew up in South Canterbury, like you said, on the farm in Arari. Mm-hmm. You moved to Australia for a little while. So how long were you in Australia for?
I wasn't there overly long, probably 2, maybe 3 years. Obviously, you know, when you get to an age, you want to explore the world. So travelled a little bit, settled in Australia, and then, it was time to come back once we started having children. Mm. Yeah.
Did you just have the job as a teacher before working with Heartland, or was there other jobs that you had before beginning your career here?
I was obviously fully trained as a teacher, and so at the time I wanted to be a full-time teacher. But things obviously change in life and everyone takes different career paths, and I was just really fortunate enough that the family business had an opening and I stepped into that and thoroughly enjoying it.
How did that prepare you for your role here at Heartland?
I think there's a lot of crossovers from obviously being a teacher and now obviously being in an industry where I've still got staff. So time management of people, making sure you're organised, and just preparing you potentially also for the unknowns. So definitely a lot of crossover skills that I've managed to bring into this role. Still learning every day in this role because it's quite a different sort of career path, but definitely there's crossover there.
Definitely. Yeah. And how big is the company?
So now we've got 33 staff, and that ranges from production staff to new product development, marketing, warehousing, and also office and admin.
Do you have any other experiences other than your teaching role that, whether it be professional or personal, that have instilled values in you or have taught you something that's allowed you to be effective as the GM here?
Yeah, I have to give my parents credit for that. Absolutely. Certainly Mum and Dad instilled values in us from a young age, and that's definitely flowed through to here. I think one of Dad's favourite sayings is, don't do a job that you wouldn't expect someone else to do. So in my role here, I did start doing many different jobs here, whether it was driving the forklift, I even run the night shift. So I really learnt that whole base around how the factory operated before I jumped into my role as general manager, and that gives you a really wide view of how the whole operation works, and that's definitely key.
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of a two-edged sword where you have the one side of knowing everything about the actual role, but also the other side of knowing how maybe people feel in those roles, you know, you can empathise with their struggles within those positions and things like that, because you've actually experienced those as well.
Absolutely. And going over there and being, you know, whether you're on the line, you can see sort of areas that they may be talking about. So, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what was your sort of rise through the company then? You know, you started in one area, you've done different things.
Probably not just a rise, but jumping around. So when I first started, it was really on a part-time basis. It just filled in when someone was away in the office. Obviously, there was some change, so I stepped into different roles. I helped out in the warehouse loading trucks, got my forklift licence. I even had a dabble at selling chips into stores. So was on the road, sort of did the Twizel, Tekapo sort of area. Probably wasn't for me. I found that quite hard, going in and approaching and trying to sell. It takes a special person to do that. And then we had some change in the business, and I don't want to say I was thrown in the deep end, but I kind of was. I had to learn really quickly the systems we had. I had to learn how to run production plans. I had to learn how to order inventory. And it was right at the stage where the business was coming into Christmas time. Our competitors had a potato shortage. We were asked whether we could fill markets, and it was like, well, luckily enough, we could turn the tap pretty quickly. We were pretty agile. And so I was like, yeah, we'll have to run a night shift, but we didn't have the staff or someone in a position to do that. So I put my hand up and quickly learnt how to run a fryer and bagger. And yeah, certainly had the support of staff, you know, around me, but being on there doing those shifts was really, yeah, it was a really invaluable experience.
So does that mean that at the drop of that comment, you know, from the people that you were supplying to, that they needed more product in, you were able to effectively, maybe not quite double, but essentially putting on a night shift would have doubled the operation?
Yeah, so Christmas is a really busy time for us anyway, so we try and build up stock leading up to that time. But when you hear that, you know, the competitors can't fill shelves and we could potentially gain that space, yeah, we tried to do everything we could just to, you know, get our product out there. It was a relatively early time for Heartland as well, so it was a really good exposure for us to get our name out there.
So did it have an impact on not just the trust with those, you know, supermarkets and things, but also a lasting impact on how much product you were allowed to put in the stores?
No, not so much. The stores generally do like to have other products available and different options for consumers to purchase. I guess it did show to those people, though, that we can turn a tap, we can change things relatively quickly. And at the end of the day, we were providing product for the stores that consumers could purchase.
So what's your favourite flavour of chips?
Oh, there's a few. I definitely like just a plain salted chip, and that's our number one seller.
Yep.
I do quite like the apple cider vinegar. It's not so salt and vinegary. It's kind of a little bit more of a mellow taste. But like you earlier said, maple bacon, that's a good chip as well.
Yeah.
Good flavour.
Yeah. For those of you, you know, before we got on camera, I was just confessing that maple bacon chips are my favourite chips. I think they're brilliant. So yeah, always been a big fan. So you've sort of got two main sites. You've got the factory site where we are now, and then you've got the farm.
Correct.
Can you give me a wee overview of maybe all of the departments across those two sites?
So the farm's situated about 30k from here in Arari, really close, and so we try and, I guess, pride ourselves also, you know, on low carbon emissions, getting our main raw material just from down the road, and it really ties into our story from our farm to you. So the farm provides all of our potatoes that we put through our factory here. So my brother works on the farm, and so he's running that, and he's obviously got staff there that help him. And then I'm here at the factory, but we've got mum and dad that sit in the background, and you know, dad's like a book of knowledge, knows everything about anything, and we still heavily rely on contacting dad and dad's input.
Yeah, definitely. Now, speaking of that, in our conversations leading up to our interview, I want us to know a bit about the farm and the beginnings of Heartland, and we're fortunate enough that we're able to speak to your dad today as well, Raymond, who is actually the superstar in this photo. But
And on the bags.
yeah, oh look at that! I didn't even notice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and on the bags.
Yeah.
So in every home, there's probably a picture of your dad. Anywhere that's got a packet of chips because I've got a mini Raymond on their bags of chips. That's awesome. I didn't actually notice that. Now I'm gonna have to, I'll never forget it. Oh, every time I open a bag of chips, oh, it's Raymond.
Yeah.
He's sitting there. He's sitting there now. He's looking at me. So. Really, really cool to be able to talk to the founder of Heartland Chips. And we're actually going to go to that interview snippet now, and then we'll flip back to this interview. Raymond, you've founded an incredible company. Heartland Chips is in the hearts of a lot of people around New Zealand. Was there any roles that you had before starting Heartland that helped you to do that?
No, not really. I was just was farming, so that's a business that you've got a role and you've got to manage staff and people and make sales. So I suppose being a farmer for the years I have been was a help entering this role. And I was never a public speaker, and I had been a member of the Kamuka Rotary Club for a number of years and had to get up and do a bit of speaking there, so that was probably a help when I was dropped into doing a few speeches once we started Heartland up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but otherwise, no.
Yeah. Was there any significant challenges in starting the company?
Well, there's always challenges in starting a company.
Do you want to talk about some of them?
Well, it was a big thing to decide to do what we're doing. We were supplying another processor here. We've always grown processing potatoes all my life, and then one decided to close, so and that's where the opportunity came for Heartland to be formed. So we knew it was not going to be easy, but I was up to the challenge because it's what I really wanted to do.
So obviously it all starts on the farm.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about the farm itself?
I wasn't brought up as a potato grower. I was brought up in a dairy farm, and my interest was to, agricultural. So that's when we decided to buy Fullgate 50 years ago, which was suitable for growing potatoes, and we were growing potatoes before we actually bought that.
So you bought the farm, and it's obviously grown since.
Yes, it has grown somewhat as, we started to grow potatoes and then started to grow processing potatoes, and as that processing grew with others outlets that we had, well, we kept putting more potatoes in, so therefore we actually made the farm bigger over the years.
Yeah. So when you started, how many employees were there?
When I started, the farm?
When you started Heartland as a company?
Well, I think we had about 7 part-timers because we didn't know how many chips we were going to sell, so they just had to come as part-timers really, and they were happy to do that. And as it grew, well, their employment was longer hours.
Yeah. Heartland is obviously a family legacy now. Your daughter, Charlotte, is the GM here. Yeah. And do you have a son runs the farm now?
James runs the farm.
Yeah.
When we decided to start Heartland Potato Chips off, well, I was sort of controlling the farm at that stage, and 15 years ago I said to James, well, I'm going to have to put my time in here to try and get this going, so he took over the running of the farm. We're lucky with our family. My wife was supportive, and James and Charlotte and Kate, so they were behind our idea of forming Heartland.
Yeah, and it's paid off. You've got a very successful company here in South Canterbury now, distribute to a lot of different places. Now, is it just New Zealand that you guys distribute to?
No, we do a wee bit of export, but not a big lot.
Right.
Some goes to Fiji and Singapore. And
wow. So you can say you've got an international company then?
Oh, well, in a small way. We're better looking after the New Zealand market while it's still growing.
Yeah. What is your favourite flavour of potato chip?
Oh, I'm probably a wee bit like Charlotte. I'll eat any of them, but if it was the go-to one, it's probably the plain ones.
Yeah.
And I do like the extreme crunch, the thicker ones, and more of a bite to still be sold.
So growing a company comes with its challenges, and starting a company comes with its challenges, but it also comes with a lot of wins. So what wins have you seen throughout your time that have, helped keep you motivated to grow this company?
Well, it wasn't easy for a start, I'd have to say that. It was very hard, and to get the backing of the bank for a start was to get the backing of a bank to support you was probably quite a big win. It took a bit of persuading because they didn't know how many we were going to sell and we're up against the big boys. So we probably had a good win there by them helping us to bring our dream to reality, I suppose. So we've got to be thankful there. So that was a win. And then the other wins are the success that it's gone since we've started.
Yeah, and how successful it's been. I mean, I know that Heartland isn't one of the biggest companies, but I would certainly say that you're definitely in the big leagues now. If you were to ask me, or probably anyone in South Canterbury or even New Zealand, name 5 potato chip companies, you'd be one of the 5 that they name. Yeah.
And it's nice to know that we're the only New Zealand-owned potato chip company in New Zealand.
Really? So the other competitors, they're not New Zealand owned?
They're not.
I didn't know that.
In the crisping line that we're in.
Yeah. And all the more reason for us to support local, you know what I mean?
That's
and
right.
not just local South Canterbury, but local New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You're part of the Chamber of Commerce, and I assume that you've been a part of that as a company for a while. Why did you choose to become a member, and what has the Chamber of Commerce done to help you with your business?
Well, we were starting out as a new business and we certainly needed some help. So at that stage when we were starting, Wendy Smith, who's still the CEO there now, was just starting. So we went, and Adrian and I went and had a meeting with Wendy and told her what we're thinking of doing. And I'm not sure whether she thought we were doing the right or the wrong thing, but she was some great help, really.
Yeah.
She said, well, you'll have to do a business plan for the bank. And I said, well, what's that?
Yeah.
So she helped us through that, and she did lead us into a lot of other different contacts that we needed to start this business back 16 years ago, I suppose. Well, it's been going 15, but we would have started to investigate it 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So no, they've been great help.
Thank you so much for your time, Raymond. I feel like a bit of a fan because I like the chips so much, and want to wish you all the best, and congratulations for creating such a successful company.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good on you.
So, Charlotte, can you explain to me the farm to store journey?
Sure. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the potatoes are all grown on the family farm out at Fulgate in Orari. Once they are harvested, and at the start of the year, they are harvested direct from the field. So we get potatoes every day delivered to us that we then turn into potato chips. And sometimes that can be on the shelf the same day. Yeah, I know, crazy, eh? So the journey, as you asked, is when it's harvested on the farm, it's obviously graded. Any stones or dirt or anything's removed from quite a flash machine that they have out there, like an optical sorter. So it arrives to us, hopefully, with no stones and no dirt, just pure potatoes. Goes into the factory. The process is really quick. So it can be turned into a bag within 12 minutes. So enters the factory with the skin still on, skin's removed, goes through the slicing blades, goes through the fryer. From the fryer, it then goes through the flavour drum. It's flavoured, weighed, then bagged, put into a box, wrapped up on a pallet, and stored in the warehouse. And from there, it gets shipped out.
What an interesting process, and quite fast as well.
It is quite fast, yeah. Yeah, and people think it's massive. Like they look here and they think, wow, look at the size of the site. But majority of it is warehouse storage, and the factory is just a small corner of the.
Right. Yeah. So quite a quick turnaround. What sort of volume do you produce?
Depending on our shift patterns. So we've got the ability to run 2 lines at the same time. We run 1 flavour a day.
Oh, yes.
There are times where we might have to change, but that's a bit of a break. You'd have to clean down the line and then restart it up. So we generally try and run 1 flavour a day, and, going's good. We can make a couple of thousand cartons of chips a day.
And a carton is?
12.
So 12 bags of chips.
Yeah.
In a carton.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. You can churn out that many chips every day.
And we're not the biggest player. So,
Yeah.
you sort of look at it and think, wow, us New Zealanders consume that much potato chips.
Yeah, we do. Let's
do.
go, yeah.
Especially our region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Very supportive of us.
obviously, I don't want to give any competitive edge away.
Yeah.
But is there desire to grow?
Absolutely, yep. And there's certainly pockets in New Zealand that we can definitely do that. South Island in particular, our region's really, really supportive of us. And we certainly thank everyone for that. You know, without that support, we wouldn't be able to grow and be where we are today. But definitely there's areas of growth that we're looking into, yeah.
Changing a flavour a day. Mm-hmm. Is that, I guess to me that sounds kind of hard when it comes to consistency. What do you guys have in place to make sure that, you know, sea salt from 2 days ago is going to be the same sea salt flavour, you know, in a week's time?
Absolutely. We have definite, you know, parameters that we work with. So we have a spec that we need to make sure our flavour's within that range, right? We have staff constantly checking that through a process in the lab. We also have a flavour machine that disperses the correct amount of flavour for the correct amount of product that's going through.
And do you have any, like, secret ingredients that you can't talk about?
I wouldn't say secret ingredients. Probably the main secret ingredients, let's be honest, is the potatoes, right? That's the majority of the product. So we're lucky that we've got that traceability. We know the farmer comes from the family farm to the factory. So we know that, you know, they can grow really good potatoes. So that's probably one of the key secrets, is having good quality potatoes.
Yeah, you'd say maybe that's part of what sets you apart from the rest.
Yeah, and knowing that you know, all the potatoes are grown on the family farm, and going back to that whole "from our farm to you" slogan, yeah.
It's really cool that you stand by that. Like, it's not just a slogan. It's not just our farm. Like, it's actually your farm that you grew up on, that these potatoes are being grown on.
Correct.
That's just,
Yeah, no one else can say that, right? Like, no one else has got that ability to be able to say, you know, that we grow their own potatoes, turn them into their own product, and then sell them. So, yeah.
Running any company comes with its challenges, also comes with its, you know, wins. Would you mind talking maybe about some of the challenges that you faced throughout the time as the GM of Heartland Chips?
Always going to be challenges, whether it's not being able to source, you know, your raw materials. Luckily, as I've alluded to earlier, the farm grows the potatoes, but there's also a risk in that, right? There's weather that plays a part. They don't know what's going to happen, you know, whether it's going to be a drought, whether it's going to be flooding, hail, which can damage product. So that can definitely be a risk. We also have had challenges, and especially during COVID times, where our suppliers, whether it be cardboard film or flavouring, had their own challenges as well. So it's like a flow-on effect. We're just really lucky. One of the really good things about, you know, here, I've got great staff. I've got staff in really good positions that, you know their job and do a great job, and we've had staff here for a really, really long time. We've celebrated a couple of staff that have been here for over 10 years. I mean, Heartland's only 15 years old, so
Wow.
yeah. So we're lucky in that aspect, to have really good and retain really good staff. And I guess without the staff, you know, you can't make a product, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really true. And maybe that's one of the wins that you've had as a, you know, in your position. What are some of the other wins that you've had throughout your time here?
I love being able to celebrate that we've been the #1 chip brand in the South Island. It's like our Southern Salt has hit that #1.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to see that consumers purchase that as their main go-to product. There's wins all the time, right? Like, to see the growth also that we've had within the company is definitely something to celebrate and be proud of.
Now, is there anything that's happened in your life personally that you think has helped to attribute to those wins happening?
I guess probably I've just always been brought up to be truthful and honest and compassionate. And I guess in terms of around this, you know, the staffing side of it, you know, you need to know your staff. Like, you can't just look at them as being a number. They're actually here working for you. So I really, I guess, value them and make sure I've got that connection with them as well. So, yeah, I guess that's probably a win.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, as the company's grown, there will have obviously been opportunities to either move away from South Canterbury or base other sorts of operations outside of South Canterbury, but you've chosen to stay here for the whole operation, both the factory, obviously your office staff, and also the farm itself. Is there a specific reason why?
I don't think there's any need to go anywhere else. Like, the farm's just up the road. It supplies our main raw material. We've got capacity here to grow within the factory production. So there's definitely no need to leave. South Canterbury is a great place, so why would you want to leave? Everything's so close and handy. We've never thought about moving anything anywhere else. I mean, we've had no need to, and I don't think in the future we'll ever think to do that either.
Now, South Canterbury. What's your vision for the future of South Canterbury as a region?
Look, I would like to see that people will still continue to come here and grow the area. It's a great place. We're lucky enough to be close enough to the mountains, to the ocean. We're accessible to lots of places. And look, I'll throw the plug in there. It's a great place to bring up kids. We've enjoyed it. It was a good move to come back. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Charlotte. Now I've got two final questions to ask you. The first question is, what benefits has your business had being a part of the Chamber of Commerce?
I think the networking and all of the courses that they have available are great. There's obviously the Be After 5, so Business After 5, that they have quite regularly, where all businesses within the region can get together and meet. It's a really good networking activity. They also run a Women in Business, and again, that's been really great.
And my final question is, what is one piece of advice you wish someone gave you when you first started out in your leadership journey?
I learnt this really quickly, and that is, staff are here to work for you. They're not your friends. So someone had mentioned that to me, and I did take it on board, but it probably wasn't a couple of years into my role that I thought, actually, wow, you've really got to have a bit of a line. And look, you can have great fun with your staff and lots of banter, but you just can't get yourself into that situation where you become friends.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Ben. It's been really good.
Really appreciate it. And really excited to see what Heartland does over the next 5-10 years.
I'm excited too. Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. All right.
Done.